Playoff best ball is in the air. So if you're not ready for fantasy football to end with the regular season, it's time to dig deep on Underdog to get your head right on how to approach these playoff best ball drafts. And in fact, I've got one queued up. So I apologize in advance to the chat, but let's see what a pure room here, people spamming in the mitten three with 35K. It's a first place you're going to do in a draft with me today. We'll find out. I also will talk about the strategies we go through this here. Of course, there's a lot of strategy to dig into as we talk about the playoffs. Certainly some advantages that I know my pal Pete's talked about. I know the Badge Bros guys talked about. Saw Herzig doing a stream today talking about some of his approach to things. And I think that's what the fun part of this playoff best ball stuff is there is a lot of room, a lot of wiggle room for you to figure out what's going to work best for you. So that's why it's a bun day today, guys, to really amplify the chaos that's going to be going on here. It's not a money hat day. It's a bun day for that specific reason we're going to get into here. You can see I'm in the 4 hole in this draft, and I'll hit a couple mittens here. So if you guys want to play along with me on Underdog, A, first of all, use the promo code SPLASH to double your deposit up to $100. B, I'll hit another one right after this draft. These mitten drafts, these playoff best ball drafts go incredibly fast. As I've said countless times across content, Underdog, I think the battle royales, the best ball drafts, obviously the playoff best ball, especially the best shitter game you can have in the world out there is because they fly by in a nick of time. And I think that's kind of the fun way to get some skin in the game, give yourself some things to live and look forward to. Hopefully you're living for other reasons too. But we're on the clock here, got some different approaches to take, and I'll take a really kind of obvious one that I think people do play quite a bit. I'm going to take a Niner stack up top, or at least try to. We'll see what we get sniped on as we go. As I mentioned in the chat right before the show, it does feel like the sniping in the mitten is at an all-time high compared to, let's say, the gauntlet, where you have a lot of higher dollar drafters. That one's a $25 entry fee. So you do sometimes see people kind of lay off and give you the stacks that you're working on. They'll take the stacks they're working on. Sometimes you butt heads based upon who wants their AFC counterparts or their NFC guys. That's sort of how it goes. But the mitten I have found is just people grabbing apples off of trees left and right, trying to hope that any of them lead to the discovery of gravity like Sir Isaac Newton. So that's what I'm seeing so far in these mitten drafts. I've not done a bunch of them. I've done a lot more in the gauntlet. But let's see what happens as we develop this right before our eyes. Shout out Justin. Shout out the chat as well. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me here, of course. And of the football content, the regular season football content will continue tomorrow. I should have Pete back for the Friday flagship show where we'll talk about week 18. Pete, of course, will do his cash game bit. But for today, and only today, it is a playoff safe place to talk about playoff best ball. So let's try. We got our NFC team here. We're going to go towards the Niners. That means we could take a Niner here, or that does mean we could try to pick off some AFC guys. We already lost out on Jamar Chase. I'm willing to dig a little bit deeper for AFC guys, potentially. I do like the Bengals, but I'm just going to take Debo here, play it safe so I can get the full alpha Niner stack. And this is the tough part of drafting Niners is it's really easy to get a full alpha Niner stack here. And what that would mean to me is like at least 4 guys, ideally 4 of the key guys, especially. But that's sort of what I would consider an alpha stack when I'm going through and labeling my drafts after the fact. But that's certainly how I'm approaching it. And there's some wiggle room. Like I know Pete has talked a little bit more about different formats, trying to get 2 teams from each conference, or 1 team rather is like your main stack. And then you get a couple teams from the other conference. That's sort of the approach that he likes the most. I tend to think what I care about is what's going to lead to a run good in the Super Bowl. So what's going to give me a full roster that can win the Super Bowl? And then how do I advance to the other rounds? Just accounting for that fact that I really only care about winning the big prize at the end. I don't care about advancing teams. Obviously, you still have to care a certain amount. But in the mitten 3 especially, where it's 2 teams advancing in every round until the finals, I think you get a little more wiggle room. So I'm willing to play it more my way, take 1 core stack, and then just take some kind of fluff around it from the other conference, see if we can flesh it out. Shout out Nez as well. I did mention the Badge Bros here. Of course, Nez and the guys doing a great job every single day, basically plowing through Underdog drafts. And they did their own definitive best ball strategy guide that I was having on in the background last week. So check those guys out. Of course, support the guys here that are grinding their butts off, myself included, hopefully. But appreciate what those guys are doing for the Underdog space and knowing it probably better than anybody else does right now in terms of just pure volume of entries put in day after day for those guys. Especially if you're looking for MLB content, I would go to those guys right now. All right, we're back on the clock here. T. Higgins falls again. We have our Niners. We could take Kittle here. Woof. All right, so this is an interesting one. I still like Higgins. This feels like an okay value on Higgins at 13. But I do want to, I'm going to focus on my Niners here and also kind of hope that I could scare anybody off of taking Brock Purdy, a guy who does kind of come up for some people as that second QB to get to in the hopes of giving an upside 1 week. That's sort of the thing that I've noticed in these mitten drafts a little bit more than the main gauntlet drafts is that A lot of people out there are just trying to kind of prop up their projection more than they are trying to build logical teams that'll get them to the Super Bowl and give them the upside to win in a Super Bowl. They're just trying to do enough to advance round after round. And as we talked about time after time with best ball, it's not about advancing one round. It's not advancing 2 rounds. It's about winning it all at the end and giving yourself a live bullet to do that. So that's what we're going to try to focus on here. I guess I'm just going to take AIC too. Why not? I'll just take every Niner who's available. That's what I'm going to do this time around. Because I think this is a weird playoff where, to me, there's one thing that Pete's talked about that I don't necessarily agree with all that much. And of course, referring to my podcast partner, Pete Overzet. So if you guys aren't familiar with Pete, go check out his channel, of course, on YouTube as well. But he's talked about trying to take some of the really low value stacks, like the ones like the Jags, the ones like, obviously the Chargers would have been a good team to target a couple weeks ago. Now they're kind of getting steamed up across the board. I tend to not feel crazy about taking, let's say, as an example that can get in this week, the Seattle stack. Like, I do think it makes some sense to take it. That said, is Seattle going to make the Super Bowl? Are they enough to really drive you all the way there? I'm not confident in that. Same thing for the Packers or the Lions, basically any of those teams that make it in from the bottom tier of the NFC. I'm not crazy at all about taking those guys just because I don't have a lot of faith in those teams. And that's me, of course, being an advanced analytics guy that spends my days at Football Outsiders dealing with DVOA and all that stuff and cares about EPA stats and all that. But like teams like the Packers aren't good. Teams like the Lions aren't good. Teams like the Seahawks, closer to mediocre than good. Those are things that to me stand out as like, yeah, you can get a full stack here. Obviously, Seattle can run hot. But in an NFC where there's so many good defenses, where you have the Eagles, where you have the Cowboys, you have that Niners D up top, despite what they showed against Vegas. Like, I think those are all really good defenses that are going to have no hard time at all kind of getting through the chafe, the shitty parts of the NFC. So that's how I'm viewing it. So sorry to shit on Justin's stream. The Packers by far his favorite team. I don't believe in them though. I think they're out one round and done. Great wild card team to flesh things out with, but not a team that I'm dying to get to. I think what we're going to try to push towards here is going to be a Baltimore Niners stack. And I'm comfortable because of the mitten format. Like, I always love just getting 2 teams and just riding with them if you can get all the parts of it. Obviously, it was a little easier a few weeks ago for the playoff odds fully materialized. But now we know pretty clearly what the playoff permutations are, the ways the teams can get there. That's why a team like the Packers can be Justin's favorite team, because all it takes is them beating a Lions team that might not even be playing for a playoff spot by the time Sunday rolls around to get in. So that's something to keep in mind here that I think has changed over the last few weeks. And also why I know the mitten's like a better play relative to, dollar to dollar, relative to also the format where you're advancing 2 teams out of each round. That said, I think there's a little bit more of an edge in the Gauntlet teams that have been drafted so far. That's sort of my gut read on it. We'll see how it turns out. But honestly, with how many early entries, including my own, that got in an actual Best Ball Mania and the DraftKings tournaments out there, would not shock me if an early team sort of took advantage of the soft ADPs and put together a monster. And I'm hoping it's one of mine that I've already put in. How many playoffs have I drafts have I done? Nick is asking. I think I'm now at about 40. I might be overshooting that by a little bit. I've done a good amount of Gauntlet ones. I've done less of the mittens just because they fill so fast. So today we'll do some mittens so you guys can come and draft along with me, and we'll see the chaos that kind of goes through on the lower dollar stuff. But right now, I kind of feel like I need to start building Baltimore to get ahead of the curve a little. So I'm going to take Mark Andrews here. There's a little bit of a reach for him, but I don't really care that much, because I'm going to be able to get the full Baltimore stack. I've already got the full Niner stack. And Baltimore probably a little bit undervalued relative to the markets as well. Like, they have about a 5% chance to make the Super Bowl. So that's something where I think they're undervalued just because of the fact that people are really squinting their eyes and getting excited to play the 1% probability teams to get there. Baltimore is a team that I have hated all year long, that I've been really disappointed by whenever I played them in DFS. Of course, being the one person in the world who had no exposure to them during that one good game against the Dolphins. That said, they keep winning week after week. We know they can run the ball. We know defensively there's probably another level they can hit, and they do control the intermediate field. I've talked about they're the worst team in the league right now at defending downfield passes, which is certainly going to be a risk in the AFC. But that said, if they do get pressure, if they do sort of salt away the game with running the ball, and that's the one thing that they're really good at, and also have some obvious targets to get to in the pass game, I'm a little bit more comfortable getting there. Also, I didn't realize the Swolecast is canceled, but glad that worked out well, because I will tell you what, if you are an individual creator or even somebody, I guess, who's doing shows, you are just running into landmines left and right. Like, I don't want to go against the Badge Bros guys because I like those guys, and I don't think it makes sense for us to chop in whatever fractional amounts of audience. I also don't want to go against ETR because those guys will steamroll everybody. Stochastic has streams all day. Obviously, a lot of stuff going on. Pete's streams are going on. So there's always stuff to try to avoid here. So whenever you can get clear runway to just do some content and have some fun, that's all I'm asking for. That's why I'm coming for the fantasy flock night hours in the off season, perhaps. Let's see what we can do here. Again, I feel like I'm going to just be able to pick off all the Baltimore players I want here. Is a Baltimore Niners Super Bowl the most likely? Probably not. I think one of the bye teams probably does get there. But in terms of just getting different, in terms of giving myself a shot and teams that actually are pretty good, I think this is one of them that would certainly qualify. So I am going to take Lamar here. And honestly, like I could probably start to flesh out my wild card teams a little bit more if I wanted to. Just because like the Bucks are going to be available. The Giants, I think, are a pretty good value. The Giants are another team that, baffling to me as somebody who really does get obsessed. Oh, that's true. Flock got 446 teams to the BBM3 finals. How about you? That's a tough run, man, because if that game kept playing on Monday night, I'm sure he would have crushed. But unfortunately, we'll all just be stuck where we are. Gabe Davis. So glad to get Gabe Davis out of the woodworks here under his pseudonym, or the real Gabe Davis, of course. Why would I possibly undersell him by saying it's not possibly the real Gabe Davis? Playoff hero, Gabe Davis, in fact. So this draft, though, is honestly one where I'm just not going to run into a lot of resistance to build what I want. So I'm going to take some other guys to kind of supplement the team later. But I think right now, I'm going to build a Giants stack too, along with this, just because I have the wiggle room to do it. So we obviously are going a little bit heavier with the San Francisco side, but just in case San Francisco somehow loses to the Giants, I guess I'll have some coverage there. But I also think Saquon's just a good play for the wild card round. A very high probability the Giants will be playing Minnesota in round one. The Giants now locked into their playoff spot. They can't move out of that 5 seed is one thing which I wasn't aware of yesterday that I am aware of today. So Saquon going to be fresh after 1 week of rest, most likely, it seems, based on the quotes from Brian Dable. And also the fact that they're going against Minnesota. That is the matchup you want in that wild card round. So taking some Giants guys just to give you enough ammo to get out of the wild card round, more of a thing to worry about in the gauntlet than I think it is in the mitten, just because, again, 2 teams advancing. But still, it's something where I think it's a pretty good spot to go to Saquon here and just prop up my projection a little bit more. Let's see. Any of these other teams looking interesting at all? So you can see kind of what I'm talking about, though. Like this team is taking a Kansas City stack or trying to take them heavily. Then they also end up taking some Chargers, take some Cincinnati. It's just chaos in a way. Like, and this guy's got a badge. Like he's got the same badge as me. So he's done 1,000 drafts or more or whatever. Point being, like, it's just not clean in the way you want it to be. And people do, I think, take it personal when you start to snipe their stacks. I know I got a little bit irritated when I took Jamar Chase. Somebody then scooped me on Joe Burrow, and I proceeded to take the rest of the Bengals without Joe Burrow just out of spite while building an NFC team. That is something to account for a little bit, that no projection and no strategy will cover you for. But it is something that the more drafts you do, the more you kind of wrap your head around it, the better off you'll be. I almost definitely don't need another running back here because I do have McCaffrey and Barkley. Could you imagine the wet dreams that running back pigs would have had in the offseason with a McCaffrey, Barkley, J.K. Dobbins start? And now here we are getting in playoff best ball on the cheapies. Justin did the same thing today with the Bengals. So there we go. So look, I think it's a positive way to view things is that, ultimately you're still getting the best parts of your team and you just need a QB to beat out Joe Burrow and they're not getting the parlay. You're not getting the parlay. So you're basically broken even on that front. Oh, yeah, it hurts. Yeah, that's a dick move. That's a dick move. I am not a fan of the people taking players that just don't make sense for their builds. So that's something that's kind of an anathema to me, but here we are. All right. Isaiah Hodgins or DeMarcus Robinson? Which guy do we go with? I think I'm going to go DeMarcus Robinson. No, you know what? I should take a Giants guy. Let's take Hodgins. Why not? I like Hodgins a lot for the playoffs. Don't ask me why. I've just been really impressed by him on what he's done the last few weeks. He was a guy that I was afraid to play based on the projection looking a little too good for value on DraftKings. And now he's actually having meaningful games week after week. And it feels like Daniel Jones trusts him a little more in those intermediate ranges than perhaps he does Darius Slayton. Richie James certainly coming on strong, but I think Hodgins has got some spunk in a way that I like. And the Giants historically have kind of gravitated towards these undrafted or lower drafted guys that didn't have a lot of capital coming in. Victor Cruz being the famous one that we can all remember. He was great in preseasons, and they actually gave him some meaningful run. But this team that I have right now, Brock Purdy, Lamar Jackson, Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, J.K. Dobbins, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk. And you can see all the teams here. See, I'm just shy of 40 right now. Let's go back to that team so I can continue reading it out loud. Deebo, Kittle, Ayuk, Andrews, Hodgins. Obviously, the Niners need to get there, so I probably should have taken another Baltimore receiver. But you can sort of see the premise here that we have enough to fill out a Niners roster in the Super Bowl. I think that's one thing people get a little bit too caught up in is trying to take even parts AFC and NFC to fill out that full roster in the Super Bowl. Whereas, like, realistically, it could be a boat race, and the Niners guys can get there meaningfully while the AFC team somehow completely falls apart. That's not a crazy thing to play at all, but people don't play it at all. So that's the kind of thing that I'm willing to get to a little bit more and just trust that a good team will score more points, a good team will win more games and go on longer. And in the Super Bowl, they'll come through in a meaningful way. And that's what I'm betting on with the Niners here. Let's do another one, though, because these are like crack. These really are very addicting to just keep hopping into. So if you want to play along with me, I'll give you guys a 3-second warning here. 3, 2, 1. I'm entering. Should I spread out the AFC exposure a bit? You could, but like the thing to me is that so here's why I think you answered Max. You answered your own question, or Max answered Ross's question rather. Basically, I don't think Purdy's strong enough to trust as a solo QB. I certainly could have done it that way because he's going to be available in the wild card. There is still a faint chance that Purdy could be a bye week guy if the Eagles blow one more game to the Giants. I don't think that's going to happen now that they're probably going to rest their starters, but still definitely a situation where you could get there. You could sort of kind of force that in if you want. For me, I think having Lamar feels good because I just want to get out of that first round and then let the good team kind of do the majority of the legwork. So that's how I approach it. And that's, I guess, a good way to talk about it in terms of strategy. I'm not coming in today with my prepared PowerPoints and such, but I think the strategy for me is like, okay, who's your Super Bowl team? You expect them to fill out most of your roster for the Super Bowl. Then you probably need one or two other guys from the other team to get there. And I think that's something that people maybe miss or disagree with. Like that's entirely possible too. I just think for me, like you want to have the winning Super Bowl team and you want to have the best players from that team. And if you can get one or two bringbacks, obviously that's going to be the hope and the goal. But there's also so few people that are going to get enough to fill out a full roster to Super Bowl to actually get to the finals that I think just having a full team for the Super Bowl is really what matters. So that's why I'm kind of forcing that a little bit more. Here we are. I'm at the one. Yeah, the influencer 1-1, which is the worst spot to be here because you can't actually get anybody good. I'm going to go Jalen Hurts here. So we'll go a potential bye week team, and I'm going to treat them like they have the bye because, again, I don't think the Giants are going to try very hard this week, and I think the Eagles will get in. And frankly, they should have gotten in a few weeks ago, but of course, we know what happened with Jalen Hurts sitting and all that. Also, my energy is like really high because I was butchering some chicken wings before the stream. I thought my wife was going to get the regular chicken wings. We don't have to do any work. Instead, I'm chopping legs apart and shit to get them brined and ready to go for tonight. So big time testosterone in the air, which is why I took a quarterback first and didn't take a running back. Testosterone and running backs is a myth. Testosterone is really just the energy you plow through streams with while jamming a bunch of teams in a row. All right, so this guy going Diggs and Lamb, so he's going to try to get Dak on the back end, you would think. Dak is probably undervalued relative to these drafts, too. I was taking him a lot more in the gauntlet. I think he's really undervalued in the mitten right now. The Cowboys have a really good defense, and our guy Aaron Schatz, the founder, editor-in-chief of Football Outsiders, actually tweeted something today where the Cowboys' run defense, according to DVOA, has been better the last 7 weeks than it was to start the year, and they've been world beaters all season long, so I'm not doing it in this build, obviously, because I have Jalen Hurts, so I'm going to try to get Eagles here. I'm going to hope that A.J. Brown comes back to me in this spot. Nez is watching the stream and drafting, so hopefully he doesn't take A.J. Brown, and he's a good man, and he supports me like I support the Badge Bros. No! Fucking Nez. He does this every stream, doesn't he? I guess Devonta it is. And I'm not going to make the bet that Miles Sanders is coming back. So we've mostly completed our Eagles here. We could perhaps take Dallas Goedert if he's still around. He probably will be. But I think right now, to me, Hurts and Sanders, I don't mind the theoretical negative correlation with the running back, just because the assumption is that the Eagles are going to score a lot of points here and score them however they're going to score them. And I guess my hope is going to be that A.J. Brown is not the one who scores those points, thanks to our pal Nez. It's hard to know the person who's sniping you. I know Pete dealt with this on his stream. I was watching that one where Nez sniped him too. But boy, it's just low character move, Nez, is what I'm going to call that. Let the content creators make content and not just tilt angrily on streams. But Jalen Hurts, Devonta, Miles Sanders, love that start. Oh, all right. I accept Nez's apology, even though, based on your track record, Nez, you are still in the danger zone for me. You are on the highway to the danger zone, but I believe you. Fucking Nez. There was a video game that I remember from a couple years ago called Rez, where it was a lot of bright colors. And I don't always think of that, Nez, when I hear your name, but now I do. Now I do because of this one moment. Because I'm seeing red right now. I'm fine. We'll get Dallas Goedert. That's just as good as A.J. Brown, right? It's playoff time. There we go. I'm an awful person to have in your lobby, no question. Look, I do it too to people, so I can't be mad about it. That said, I do it to people not on stream. That's my one thing. I'll do it on my private time where I'll snipe Peter Jennings and then talk to Pete about, can't believe fucking Peter Jennings tried to take my Cowboys stack. So yeah, I went right back after him with a Bill stack. That's the kind of things that I do in my private time with a glass of wine in one hand. Going to win 100K this year, but it's because of the big dollar tournaments and also because of a game not playing on Monday night. I don't know. I kind of think this best ball year, and I'm not one of those people who's going to tilt about it. Obviously, as I talked about yesterday, like a really tragic situation and one that did really hit home for me. I didn't even talk about it fully yesterday. Like my Apple Watch, like gave me a heart reading of like 150 when that whole Hamlin thing happened. So like I was like, oh my god, am I going to die of a heart attack while watching this guy potentially die of a heart attack like on the game? And it freaked me out because like I grew up with again, my grandfather had heart attacks, like we've had them in my family. So like that should freak me out. That said, like I think you just got to kind of throw the results of the finals out. Like Pat would have had a good shot to win, but also had enough guys breathing down his neck. I was 50 points away with 3 guys going who were not duplicated. So like I felt like I still had a shot to get in that one. But like I think you kind of have to just go like, hey, whoever won, good luck, you ran good. At the same token, though, like I kind of think the results of this year are going to be flimsier and also going to throw off people for next year. But that's how I feel about it. Let's take some Chargers. Why not? We got Eckler here? Sure. And then we got, let's see, should I do Keenan or Mike Williams? I feel like Mike Williams would be more rewarding, but have more downside relative to the half-point PPR. Keenan Allen, you got to figure getting 15 targets a game in the playoffs. So I'll take Keenan Allen here and hope Mike Williams falls. Oh, I should have, maybe should have taken Herbert, but we'll see. We'll see what Nez does. Maybe he'll take Herbert. Also, my voice is back, guys. You must be so thrilled. You don't have to hear me sounding terrible. You get to hear like my normal amount of mediocrity. You don't get to hear me going, just kind of struggling my way through. So either way, try to build an Eagles Chargers grouping here. We'll see if we can get Herbert. We'll see if we can get Mike Williams. Feels unlikely at this point, but I did take the best parts of the Chargers. So I'm hoping there's a shot that those guys come back. Eckler is a guy, by the way, in the mitten. If you want to get Eckler, be prepared for people to scoop him 10 spots before it feels right. I saw that in the handful of drafts I did this morning. He's going about 10 spots ahead of ADP in some rooms. So I think enough people saw him winning Best Ball Mania and were like, got to have this guy in the playoffs, even though the Chargers could be one round and done. But that's sort of how it goes. At least when he tweets out, if anyone has better results, I'd like to see him. We can all reply, Pat Carrane. Yeah, I think if you're going to choose who to follow relative to drafting, like obviously I think I'm good at this. Better than the average bear. I think Pete's really good at it. I think Pat's really good at it. I think there's a lot of people out there really good at it. And I would say that particular YouTube channel, I would not put in my top 50, but he's got money to blow, and he makes a lot of money for Underdog. So yeah, what are you going to do? I did notice recently too that I think we've officially scared away any of the casual Splashlight people who are also fans of Fantasy Flock, because there's now no overlap between our viewerships at all. I don't know what that says. I think it's hopefully for the best for us, but who knows? Hard to say when one channel's got 100,000 or 100 times the amount of subscribers. Brock Purdy goes, and here comes Nez to take Justin Herbert. Somehow take Justin Herbert and Mike Williams just to hurt me emotionally. Thankfully, Nez is building a Bills team, so he should not take a Charger. What good would that do? Take some NFC guys. All right, there we go. You know what? Let's get real cute. Let's get adorable, guys. We're going to take more Eagles, and we're going to take Mike Williams. We're going to see if Justin Herbert falls. And if he doesn't, then I'm fucked. Then I'll take Lamar late and hope that he can carry me through the wild card round. But I don't see why anybody would want to take Herbert now besides an auto draft. So we'll roll the dice. We'll see how it comes up. We have better weed over here. Oh, we absolutely do. That's the thing I haven't figured out how to do, because obviously, the show is affiliated with Football Outsiders. Of course, that's my day job. So go get in there, footballoutsiders.com/subscribe. You can have some good premium content coming out throughout the playoffs as well. Just locked that down earlier today. So go check it out. DVOA gets updated for the playoffs as well. And as I've talked about, I think advanced data is important. If you're getting it from Football Outsiders, great. But get it from some source out there. Don't just take projections. Definitely don't just take DVP and rely on it. That said, I do want to just get fucking baked and do some streams, but I feel like it's inappropriate to do during the workday. So that's where perhaps Spags at night will come in, and I'll just do some night drafts, get absolutely fucking stoned, and see how we do. Probably poorly, but we can see. Oh, man. Kadarius Toney going at 40. That feels a bit much, but Justin knows what he's doing. It's Justin's team. Mahomes, Kelsey, McKinnon. Honestly, kind of a nice team. He's taken one of the NFC Flyer guys or Flyer teams potentially get into the Super Bowl against the Chiefs. I can do that. I can get with that. Justin, you're right. You're right. Spags at night sounds legit. Thank you. I hope you're right. I hope you're right. I hope it's legit for everybody out there. How's your team finished, Spags? You probably went over already. I'm at 201. So if they don't play the game again, I'll get like a $2,500 payday, which does not cover the entry fees, but is still better than nothing, obviously. And I'll just roll it forward towards everything else I'm playing. And I'm due to get an Underdog re-up as well, because part of my deal with them is that they give me Underdog money to do all this content here. So hopefully that'll cover some portion of my 2023 entries. But if it doesn't, what are you going to do? All right. Justin Herbert falls back to me 18 spots or 17 spots after ADP. Must be my birthday, guys. This is a little bit of liar's poker you can play. Pete's talked about this too, the idea of like kind of claiming your guys and then hoping people don't draft around them. So that feels pretty strong. Wild card round, Eckler's going to be my running back, so I probably need some more receivers. Green Bay's going to get in, right? Green Bay's going to get in. Or do I take a flyer on McKenzie? You know what? I won't snipe Nez in case he wants McKenzie. I'll take Christian Watson here. Try to get one round of upside from Christian Watson before Aaron Rodgers gets them ejected from the playoffs immediately. A lot of my drafts are at Nightstone. They are awesome. Good for you, Max. I think, Max, you're a Cali guy, right? So, yeah, that's the vibe. That's just the California vibes that I'm dying to get back to one of these days. Do I still retain the gift of gab when I'm still in? First of all, thank you, Nez, for saying I have the gift of gab. I appreciate you trying to level out the incidental snipings of me. That said, I can talk fully no matter what the situation is. And I've probably been baked on a few Splash Play streams, including the one that is in our favorites here. If you want to go to the YouTube channel, check out some classic Splash Play episodes. When Pete and I ate a pizza, we both are absolutely baked for that stream. And Pete dominated me. He ate his pizza in an alarming amount of time. So that's a Splash Play we just don't get enough of these days in my mind. Nick built a 5-4-1 Cowboys-Bengals Dalvin in the overflow. That's good. I think the Vikings are a team, like, I think they suck. Not suck. I think their offense is really good. I think their defense can't hang in with anybody. That said, like, the Vikings are just a little bit undervalued to me. Like, they can make the Super Bowl. They have the firepower. Like, they beat the Bills during the regular season. It's not everything, but that's something. So I certainly think that's a thing for me that I don't mind getting any pieces of the Vikings overall and just hoping. But if you're going to take the Vikings, like, I would take a lot of Vikings. I think just one Viking that could get you through the wild card, but like, you want to go for the nuts then and hope that they just run really good. Especially when people are really extra down on them after what they did in week 17. So I think if you wanted to take full Viking stacks, now is certainly the time. Oh, Santa Monica. So Max is doing well. So now we know who's got money in the chat. Max in Santa Monica, living the life. I love Santa Monica so much. Definitely not a place I could live as an individual person, but I had a couple of my best friends lived out in Santa Monica and would love going out there, hanging out, go to Big Dean's. Big Dean's is a great place. If you're looking for a beach bar to go to in LA, that's not too annoying, unless it's like during game day. Sometimes it gets a little bit weird. But Big Dean's is one of my favorite bars to go to. There in Brennan's, the one with the turtle racing and a bunch of outdoor game stuff like cornhole and whatever. A lot of fun at Brennan's as well. The Girl Pete episodes are fire. Thank you, Lunchable Connoisseur. Even though you might just be using those for masturbation fodder, I appreciate that. I've not checked in with Girl Pete recently, so I didn't love her response when he had Pete on the show on Friday. Like, I felt like she didn't give us enough content. So Girl Pete officially dead to me. So the AI is probably gaining sentience somehow and going to rebel against me at some point. Maybe snipe me on some picks. I don't know. Oh, Max. Oh, good for you. Girlfriend's got the cash. Never a bad place to be. All right. Got one more spot here. I mean, I don't know what really helps me at this point. Like, I kind of got my guys. So I'll take Josh Palmer. Why not? All right, there we go. Another team down. And again, it's that easy, guys. Like, this shit flies by. Obviously, I'm talking to you guys, so it's going to fly by more easily. But it's a lot of fun to do these drafts, and you can see why people just sit down and do 5 to 10 in a row. And speaking of, I'm not going to do that today, but I will do one more here in hopes of keeping this video a reasonable length. Oh, this one fills fast. Sorry if I didn't give you guys enough notice there. Again, the mittens fill fast. That is the one thing that I like about the gauntlet is that obviously a little bit slower to fill, which sucks when you're waiting for it to fill on a stream sometimes. But like overall, the gauntlet, like it's not just people mashing draft after draft after draft. And on the mitten, people are just trying to get them in because this one might fill. Honestly, it wouldn't be shocking if it filled before the playoffs actually start. One more, Max. You might be in luck, my friend. Maybe 2 or 3 more. So get out your girlfriend's credit card. Let's go to town. I hope you guys get it. I know I kind of promised more strategy on the thumbnail. I'm hoping that just watching me do it, hopefully it tells you how to do it. But again, I just think my strategy is going to be different from some other people's. And again, I think Pete's one of the sharpest guys in best ball. And that's why I was going to give him money if I won Best Ball Mania 3. Cause everything I learned, it was from watching him, watching ship chasing, learning from him and then trying to adapt the process for myself. So people are going to have different approaches. That said, I don't think playoff best ball is even close to figure it out. I know the teams that I saw last year that actually had some life to them were more ones that concentrated on, Bengals, concentrated a little bit on the Niners, even though they didn't get there, concentrated on, on the Rams side, obviously. But I just think it's a matter of get Super Bowl winner right, and then everything else kind of fall into place. So that's my main hope. Get the Super Bowl right and give yourself enough ammo to get through a few rounds. And the one hole in this one, all right, Jeremy, I'm watching you, the icon. I feel like you're saying that though, so I don't snipe your guys. And now that's the danger zone. I'm going to take Jamar here. And I bet somebody's going to take Joe Burrow. And then that's going to make me upset. But honestly, because it is towards the end of the round, maybe not. I might get lucky here. We'll see. DK doesn't have playoff best ball yet, says the poor guy in Connecticut who can't get Underdog. Oh, I didn't know you couldn't get Underdog, Ross. I appreciate now I need to make sure to do more DraftKings drafts moving forward. But I actually was looking for that because I think it was you who had asked me about DraftKings playoff best ball. And I was looking to see if they had any lobbies up, but they do not. So I would throw in some DraftKings playoff best ball. I don't know why they're not doing it, but whatever. When it comes to ADP, is there a certain point where you kind of ignore it? That's kind of why I went heavy KC than Bucks. And they would get a full stack if I ignored ADP. Joe Burrow. Jalen Hurts and Joe Burrow, you fuck. All right, well, you know what then? See, now we're going to see. Here's the strategy for a spiteful draft before I answer Justin's question. You take A.J. Brown. You take A.J. Brown. This Jalen Hurts guy has no shot at A.J. Brown, no shot at Devonta Smith, and no shot at Miles Sanders because fuck him. Why would you take 2 QBs there? Dick move. 2 alpha receivers with no quarterbacks to go with them. It's the real meta. I'm going to have to take a wild card team, I guess, and hope that they can get there. This might be a Giants build, honestly. All right, back to Justin's question. I think, Pete has said just kind of draft a full team you can. I know Herzig has also said, just try to get the alphas from a team if you can. So, if you're reaching an ADP, I think you're reaching an ADP for, Eckler, Keenan Allen, or, Jefferson, Cook. I think you're reaching for one of those, less popular alpha kind of groups that people don't really want as much. That makes sense to me. I think if you're reaching for, Demarcus Robinson, I like Demarcus Robinson a lot in the 10th. If I had to get him in the 7th or 8th, I think that's probably a bad pick, but that's just my gut instinct. All right. Back on the clock here. How spiteful do I want to get towards this guy? Or is it time to call off the dogs? It's spite. It's spite time. It's spite time. You don't take QBs back to back. You don't do that. It's poor form. It's poor etiquette. And frankly, it's not the way I want to see drafts go on. So if this cost me $5 to teach that doggy with an eye a lesson, I hope that doggy learns. Enjoy your Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon stack. Oh, not even going to get that. Oh, no, he will get that. All right, fine. You win this round, that doggy. Enjoy your Dallas Goedert, Jalen Hurts stack. That's what I should have said. The one hole sucks. Yes, the one hole does suck. The only time I've enjoyed the one hole spot was when I somehow lucked into an Allen Diggs in the one hole, which doesn't happen ever. So I think that's something that it's tough because if you take Josh Allen, you're not ever getting one of his top receivers with him. All right, we're back on the clock here. We got to put something together that's going to be useful. Eckler already went, so somebody's going to take. So here's where ADP, I'm going to throw it out the window. I'm going to take Saquon Barkley. I guess my assumption in this particular build is going to be that the Eagles advance to the NFC title game, but then the Giants knock them out as some sort of karmic retribution for whatever doesn't happen in week 17. Thank you, Max. Here's the $5 back from the draft. Oh, that girlfriend's credit card's burning right now, and I appreciate it. But again, somebody has to teach that doggy a lesson. You can't get away with these shenanigans. You can't get away. Not in my, I'm going to be the hall monitor of mitten drafts where it's like, if it's the gauntlet, like, all right, I'll probably back off a little bit. For $5 though, fuck you, man. I'm gonna punish you right back just out of spite. All right. Honestly, at this point, I guess I might as well get Ravens late too. So I should start picking those teams. It seems like the way this should go. This is what happens when you get caught up in spite too, is you start to lose your focus a little bit on what you're actually trying to do. Oh boy. Oh boy. I hate everything. I hate everything. Oh, I'm gonna take Dallas Goedert. When in doubt, fall back on not letting that guy with Jalen Hurts get anything useful. This is not the strategy. To be clear, I will go on record and say this is not a plus EV strategy, but boy, is it fun. If you got $5 to burn, just antagonize somebody you don't know for fun. Thank you, Murano. Thank you, Lunchable Connoisseur. I appreciate you guys. We'll do a good draft after this one. Carlos saying, I support this decision. Honestly, I should just do like fucking the Joker streams, just coming in and ruining everybody's builds. I could have built a Cowboys stack at this point. I could have done things with my life. And here I am, sniping this guy on everything. He's probably gonna want some more Bengals at some point. So somebody took Tyler Boyd. It probably is that guy. All right, fuck. Let's take a real player. We'll take Lamar. We'll take Lamar. Anyone saying they haven't been a dick in a draft before is lying. I think that's fair. In like preseason best ball, like in regular best ball during the year, like I do try to kind of stay away from people's stuff for the most part. That said, if they start to step on my dick a little bit, I'm like, well, fuck you. Then I'll just take one part of your guys just because that's sort of, like I agree. I won't normally submarine a team for the fun of it, but I just didn't like that guy taking Hurts and Burrow back to back. So sometimes you make an enemy of somebody. And this is why, for the record, why Underdog does not have chat in the rooms, even though I think that'd be fun, be nice to be able to have a bond with the community that you're drafting along with, spending money with. It's also fun just to hate them and not know who they are. And that's where we are. Oh, take Minshew. That's a fun, but honestly, at this point, it probably makes sense to do that. Yeah, I'll see. Let's take him in the 10th round. I'm going to start building some Giants, I guess, again. I'll take Daniel Jones. Best ball mania guy. Could have won it all for somebody. All right, Daniel Jones. Done. All right, so we're playing to give other people money right now is how we're playing this particular draft. But we're playing for a Giants Super Bowl where they narrowly edged Philadelphia in the NFC title game. And then they're playing Cincinnati, who just beat Baltimore, I guess. He took Mark Andrews out of spite. That's funny. Oh, you got me, that doggy. All right. Let's take J.K. Dobbins. I don't know. At this point, let's just fill out the team. I need Hurst. This guy's team: Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon, Miles Sanders, Mike Williams, Tyler Boyd, Mark Andrews, Kadarius Toney. I mean, honestly, good for Short Gamer. Short Gamer, of course, is in the chat right now. That's a positive. He's got a good shot at advancing out of this group. I think he built a team that actually works. It has some logic to it. So kudos to Short Gamer building the right way. That was the real lesson, was I was going to sacrifice my own money so Short Gamer could show you guys, here's how you do a draft around other people that are being complete fucking assholes for no reason. Maybe close it out with a DeMarcus Robinson here, and DeMarcus Robinson and Isaiah Hodgins to close out the room. Ooh, that's going to be a winner. It's got to beat that doggy. I should mark this draft too, so I know that I hate that doggy. Oh, but I love dogs. I don't want to hate any doggy, especially that doggy. There you go, Shirt Gamer. Happy to help. Happy to help. I don't know what you'd be learning, but I hope you're learning something by watching this stream. What not to do. I'm just going to change the title. What not to do in a playoff best ball draft. All right. I think let's take the Marcus before that doggy can take him. And I bet if he's trying to be spiteful, he'll take Slayton here in one of these picks. But if he's not being spiteful, he's actually drafting for his own team, then he won't take Slayton. That's how that'll go. Now, this is fun. This is why, like, again, you can see the joy in my heart. It's just nice to have best ball. It's nice. It's been so long since I've had a best ball sweat. It was ripped from my hands. And now here we are, sweating it again. Oh, shout out Sammy, Buffalo War Pigs. Happy New Year to you too, my friend. I appreciate it a bunch, man. Sammy, one of the regulars. I think he popped in the super chat when I was on Stochastic the other day too. So Sammy's just that guy. Okay. He took Aiden Hurst in the 10th round. I guess we can't do that then. I'll take Slayton. No, I'll take Richie James. I think Slayton's probably a little bit overvalued in terms of these giant stacks that nobody's taking. This dog shit team: Lamar Jackson, Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, J.K. Dobbins, Jamar Chase, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert, Demarcus Robinson, Richie James. The irony is if this team somehow escapes the wild card, like, it actually has some good players beyond that. All right, what do you guys say? One more draft? Maybe two, but at least one. All right, I'm going to count it down. 3, 2, 1. Oh, we got some spots. Anyway, catch the fever of the mitten, guys. And again, use that promo code SPLASH. For some reason, Underdog has just been legalized in your state, or it's you never deposited for any reason. I don't know why you wouldn't be on there. But use the promo code SPLASH because they will match your deposit to $100, and that would be 40 entries to the mitten 3. So give yourself a shot to win $35K up top. Maybe too, Sammy. Look, maybe. I don't know. If I keep seeing these super chats flying around, maybe I'll just keep drafting until I die. I feel like that's what the flock does. He just drafts, like, he'll just go on for fucking 5 hours overnight. I don't have that in me anymore. Little Luca waking me up 3 times a night. It's not doing that. Oh, Morano's in. Jeremy's in again at the 101. His favorite spot to draft in. Maybe we can have a gentleman's draft this time. I don't know. It's so dumb, though. Like, that last draft was literally me just taking $5 and just lighting on fire and holding it up in celebration. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it all the same. So I don't take many Chiefs just because it is impossible to get a stack you really like because you're never going to get Travis Kelce. But I'll take Mahomes here. Different start for me. I'll get out my comfort zone a little bit here. How about you keep drafting till the mitten fills? How many entries are in the mitten already? Because I have to imagine we might be getting close. Like, this is supposed to go till next Thursday. No, okay. So only 2,150. I didn't realize it was that fresh. So this one, if I had to guess, this one should fill by like Tuesday or Wednesday. Just based how fast these other ones been going. But maybe not. Maybe people will wait a little bit once the games actually start playing. I do feel like, though, there is a little bit less edge in the mittens just because there's such a moment in time and everybody knows the same info at the moment in time. Whereas in the gauntlet, like, you got teams ahead of people taking risks. Like, the Ravens are basically free. They're still kind of free right now. That's one of the things that I think, if we're going to talk actual strategy, I think it's worth just taking Ravens. Like, if you get scooped on all the good AFC teams, just take some Ravens and hope that they get there and beat those other guys out, because, like, that's one pathway that could certainly make sense. All right, Darth Oblivion going for a Philly KC one. So he's all right. That's a weird start. Maybe I'll just go Oppo Philly KC, and I'll take AJ Brown here if he falls. Yeah, look, I will always respect hustle. I just respect, like, knowledge, information, knowing that you're smart, not being arrogant about your intelligence level, those kind of things. Even though those things might fly in the face, I at least work for Football Outsiders and run it. All right, we're on the clock here. Oh, $5 for diapers. Well, then you know what? I'm going to piss my pants with excitement taking AJ Brown here again. We're playing Chiefs Eagles too. Sorry to that other guy who Darth Oblivion. More of a Darth Maul guy myself. More of a Jar Jar Binks guy myself. I don't think I could do the Jar Jar Binks voice, though. I think that would get me canceled. All right. You don't want to hear. I will say, if you ever see me in one of these lobbies, by the way, you don't want to go and take the opposite teams of me. Like, you don't, you don't want that, because things will get a little bit testy. It'll get a little bit, or you can just know on the other side of the screen, I'm yelling at my phone. Oh, are you Darth Oblivion, Morano? I didn't know that. Okay, we could share. I don't think I went that crazy. I left you Devontae. Sammy giving $5 for. Thank you, Sammy. You're too generous, man. I appreciate it. Who knew that the pathway to getting super chats going on the channel again was just to hammer playoff best ball drafts and be mean to people? That's a content lesson I wasn't prepared for amidst doing 8-hour edits of data videos. By the way, no data video this week. That's something which actually has been getting like a lot of views on the channel. So I was reluctant to not do it this week, but I just think I can't do a good video because week 18 is so fucking stupid and I don't want to give bad information. And that's just how I'm doing. So if you love the data video, I apologize, but we'll talk about it. I'll talk about it tomorrow on the stream, some of the data that I find interesting. Whew. Week 18 is going to be fun, though. Week 18 DFS, I'm looking forward towards. Honestly, though, Morano, I just didn't file Morano away as a Darth Oblivion guy. I feel like if your name's Morano, I would expect like your username's like, oh, like Morano 245, Morano 24/7. But like instead it's Darth Oblivion, and I didn't know. I didn't know. Diapers and beer. No need to go to the restroom. That's true. That's how the flock does it, from what I'm told. For rubbers, oh, we don't use that in this house, Ross. That's how we got in this predicament in the first place. But I appreciate it. Thank you. Oh boy. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? All right. We got Juju here. I guess I gotta take Juju. Yeah, Juju, and then maybe Dallas Goedert on the wraparound. Then we're gonna have to get a wild card team to get us through. That's one thing to keep in mind if you do draft bye week teams. Like, you basically need a wild card team to help get you through, at least one wild card team. So I could start taking it now, or I could take Dallas Goedert. Which way do you think I'm gonna go? I'm gonna take Dallas Goedert. Sorry to Morano, Darth Oblivion. Hopefully this isn't the thing that turns him to the dark side. Sammy, don't worry. For you, bud, I will do a second draft. Have no fear. We'll hit one more mitten draft after this one. Hopefully that'll put us at about a clean hour, and then we'll hop off here and come back tomorrow with Pete. We'll do the usual Friday antics and rigmarole, and Pete will talk about cash games. It'll be a lot of fun for everybody. Why not a supplement to Pete's week 18 cash game bro thing? Do a data show on good and bad cash week 18. I don't play cash games. It's funny because like I actually had one of my best NBA runs is when I was playing like a certain amount of money and would dedicate basically like this amount GPP. Like it was basically 50-50 GPP in cash, and I would win in cash every day. So then even if I lost the GPPs, it would even out. And obviously not every day, but like for the most part in the big tournaments, like I don't think it's hard to cash in NBA. I just don't find cash fun. Like the fun for me is like even the high stakes stuff. Like I saw Liam kind of talking about his 300K potential wins and all that. And like good for him. Like I'm glad that he used his money in a smart way to win more money and all that. That's what you're supposed to do. The thrill for me is playing in like 500,000 person tournaments and seeing like, can I beat all these people? Like that's the joy I got of it. That's like the pure entertainment for me. That's why I'm not a DFS pro. Like that's the only reason why. I'm not a DFS pro, but it's also like, that's the fun. Like that's the joy I get out. I'd rather put 40 bullets into, into like the Millie Maker than I would, one into the Spy personally, but that's how I feel about it. All right. Let's start taking, I guess let's just start taking Giants again. Giants are a team I do not believe in terms of talent level, but they're well coached. They have the very obvious guys to get to. So I'll go there. And Daniel Jones is going to go for nothing. So maybe I'll just build a full wild card group. Mike Evans or Chris Godwin. Who are the Bucks basically locked in? They're going to play the Cowboys, right? I'll take Mike Evans. Right call there. Just tip your hat and say good game. Yeah. Like that's how I try to do everything. It's like you put your best lineups in, you put your best approach in, and then ultimately, if it goes poorly, lost the money, won the money. I don't know. The only thing that gets me off is like mid 5-figure wins at this point. Like I had a couple like that were like high 4 figures, and I'm like, I'm not even gonna tweet this out at this point because like I don't think it's fun. Like it's not a fun screenshot. It's not fun for me to tout. Like if it's 20K and up, I'll tweet it out. If it's not, then I'll just quietly go about my day and just hope to do better the next time. Definitely not going to tweet out my $2,500 win in Best Ball Mania. Oh, is that it? Did that news come through officially, Justin? I didn't see that yet, obviously. Let's see. Check Twitter on this computer. Does anybody have a news source for me to look at for this one? I see Rich Eisen show saying that it should be played. I don't know. Nothing from the NFL Twitter handle. Somebody give me a source. Oh, Florio? All right. I'll pull it up. I don't want to give out. I want fully confirmed news. Oh, the AP reporting it. Oh, AP report? Ooh, okay. Well, so the Bills are more valuable than they were before. That much is for sure. I'm going to take Daniel Jones here. Just get it out of the way. I was at the Bills game and was wanting to go back hard at second. Ooh, man, you should get a refund for that. It's so tough because like you can't talk about any of this stuff without feeling like a fucking scumbag. And I feel bad for consumers. Like I feel bad for myself. Like I'm happy for Pat that like he can win, but like it's not the way anybody wants to win. It's not the way anybody wants to lose. It's kind of like a tough in between there. I'm gonna take Fournette. So we got some bucks. Why not? Just get the team out of the wild card and pray. Anyway, yeah. So that would mean that, boy, it's tough because you just can't get Allen and Diggs. Like that Bill stack, though, whatever stacks you've drafted already that people were avoiding because of the bye, the Bills now would be locked into playing in the wild card. That also means what we talked about yesterday with the Week 18 early look, where it's like was impossible to really give an early look. The Bills probably won't try that hard on Sunday against the Patriots because that game now means nothing to them. It's interesting. I don't know. But anyway, the Bill stacks, if you have a full Bill stack, you now got one extra round out of them. So that's tremendously valuable because that was an uncertain thing. And I honestly thought the Bills were going to get the bye. So I have some teams where I drafted Bills players and then like drafted more to kind of get through the wild card. We'll do one more after this one. So if you're going to log off, don't, please. I don't know. But yeah, poor Jeremy. Can you imagine if like you save up all year to go to like this game that means so much and you know it's gonna be super exciting and maybe like the most fun Monday Night Football game since that Rams Chiefs won a few years back that got moved from Mexico City, and it's like, oh yeah, never mind. Never mind, you got 6 minutes of game time. Like, oh, that would not fill my heart with joy. So I do feel bad for Jeremy. And obviously, like we've said enough. Like I feel terrible for DeMar Hamlin and also like there was a video that went viral that I'll talk about in a sec. All right. Let's take a Slayton here. We've taken every other pass catcher. We'll do a Slayton for didn't know I was such a Giants guy. Final team here. And we'll hit one more draft. Oh no, this is not it. Let me refresh. Final team, Mahomes, Daniel Jones, McKinnon, Saquon, Fournette, A.J. Brown, Juju, Dallas Goedert, Mike Evans, Darius Slayton. Yeah, I basically need a Chiefs-Giants Super Bowl, which isn't going to happen. So we got another $5 lit on fire. And let's light $5 more on fire right now. Do the countdown. I'll 5-second countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom. Yeah, that one was a hot ticket. I remember when I was in LA for when that Rams Chiefs game got moved to the Coliseum. I think it was yeah, wherever it was. I think no, I forget because they had the stadium at that point, but it got moved to LA. And like I was like, I'm not going to pay $2,000 for a ticket to a game, but like that one would have been very fun to see live. I remember like even when I went to like one of the Patriots Jets game like many years ago when it was like Brady at his peak, and it was like Brady just running like pristine routes, like his receivers, he's hitting them in perfect timing, time after time, and like the Jets were like okay enough and did their best to hang in there, but like seeing the Patriots offense like at its apex live was like very cool to see. So I imagine seeing two offenses just going head to head with like still good defense being played for the most part, even though basically turned into flag football. Like, that's like the most fun football I think you can see live. Like, a defensive minded game, see big hits and stuff. But I think, after Monday and in general, and like the jacked up stuff kind of has been phased out of our repertoire, like big hits are not like fun to see because then you think like, oh yeah, that guy might like have brain trauma. Like that's not the most fun. So I think offensive flag football games are the most fun one to go to. Jeremy's a real influencer here. The 101 again. But honestly, you call yourself the icon. Jeremy, I would also like to know the etymology of that name. Like, are you a big Sting fan? I feel like he used to go by the icon. Do you consider yourself iconic? Please tell me more, Jeremy. I need to know. Walk-off overtime touchdown is wild, especially with the playoffs on the line. Yeah, I would think that's probably, if you're like a fan of the team, that's probably the best thing you want to see. If you're just a fan of football, like I am more so, I just want to see like fun, high scoring games with offenses that are like run to precision. Because when you see an offense run to precision in person, like USC when I was in college was the same thing. It's like, oh yeah, like these are the best of the best, and they're being put like chess pieces exactly where they need to be. So that stuff all looks good. Let's go off the board here. Let's get a full Cowboys. Let's get a full Cowboys. I don't know that you should throw ADP out the window this much and take CeeDee Lamb at the 3 spot. We're going to do it, though. We're going to do it. Have you looked at the 2023 way too early drafts or ADPs? Drafts are going to be so much different this year. Yeah, I have not looked yet. I will do it when there's tournaments open because I don't really care about like the cash game or like small field stuff. But I'm sure QBs went up a lot, and I'm sure running backs have come down a lot. I don't want to get there yet. Like I'll do big board drafts when that's out, but like, or if there's any tournament they put out like that has decent money, like it's got to be at least 50K for me to, I think, justify like the effort. That's just how mentally I work. Not that I'm like my time is worth $50,000. But I am curious to see how ADPs kind of form throughout the summer because there are going to be some people who do not learn from that and just still draft running backs, boreheadedly, and that's something that I don't think will ever change. All right. We're going to be able to get Dak later. We can get a running back probably on the next pick. So I should take an AFC guy. All the best AFC guys are gone. I guess we'll build. Oh, this guy's got a nice Bengals stack. I bet he's going to be sad about this. But sorry, I'm taking T. Higgins here. Going to try to build Cowboys-Bengals. Probably going to lose enough parts of Cincinnati that it won't be valuable, but I think we'll still be able to get most of the parts of the Cowboys that matter. So that's all that really matters on my end. Calm down, Rob Lowe, with your love of just football. That's me though. Like I was a Cowboys fan growing up because my dad was a Giants fan. So like I thought that was a fun thing when I was a 5-year-old or 4-year-old, I guess, when I picked my team. And then cried. My first memory of sports was crying over Troy Aikman being stretchered out when Lawrence Taylor hit him. That was the year the Cowboys went 1-15. Then after that, I was a Cowboys fan and barely remember the Super Bowl stuff. But then as an adult, everybody called me a bandwagon fan because like I rooted for the Cowboys, and I just don't care that much anymore. I root for them in this house because Alex is an Eagles fan. But besides that, I just like seeing good football. That is genuinely that's what sparks joy in my heart. Ooh, okay. So I can continue to snipe this guy's Cincinnati. Or I can take a Cowboys guy. Man, I just don't think Tony Pollard has the same value. I'm going to take Mixon here. Well, so like here's the thing, Max, is that we used to do like we would play a lot of games when I was a kid, and it would always be like competing head to head, and like even like basketball. Like my first memories were like shooting at a basketball hoop, and my dad would like block me or whatever. Like not over and over again. It wasn't like prison ball fully until I was a teenager. But basically, like that's what my memories were. So I thought the competition was just like fun, silly competition, not realizing that people would make like value judgments on me for the rest of my life. But that's what happens as a kid. I was also a Bulls fan as a kid for that reason, though that one was more like I also fell in love with Michael Jordan and they were actually winning at that point. But my dad was a Knicks fan and then he was a Mets fan, so I was a Yankees fan. And now I just love money. Now, now I just love money. Now I just love the thrill of sports. All right. Tony Pollard's still here. I just don't think he's like a playoff guy. Like, I feel like in the playoffs, are just gonna be like, yeah, let's give Zeke the ball 10 million times, call it a day. Let's just take Dak. Let's take Dak and we'll see where the chips fall at running back. Anyway, I think this is a better strategy. Obviously, you've now seen a bunch of different draft formats. You've seen the spite draft. You've seen the, oh shit, I got cucked on a pick and now I kind of have to scramble draft. You've seen the, what would we define that last one as the, oh, I got some good guys, but also like don't really have a quarterback draft. Now you're seeing what happens when you actually try to draft with strategy and stick to it. Approach it the right way is you get a pretty good Cowboys-Bengals team. Like, the Bengals now a wild card team. They had a shot at the bye. Now they have none. So that looks pretty good. And I can get Zeke. Cool. Dak, Mixon, Zeke, Lamb, Higgins. And we're going to get some bullshit guys after that to fill out the receivers. Honestly, I might not need to take another running back. We'll see if I do. Also, if you might have gathered from watching me draft here, I am not a zero RB guy in this format. I'm a whatever you get, you kind of take. And I also think McCaffrey is a very good first round pick because the Niners, that defense is so good. And basically, like McCaffrey, I think is probably the safest producer relative to all these matchups they're going to have where they're probably going to have to play the Eagles or the Cowboys, if not both. Like that's something where you go to McCaffrey there. You don't trust Brock Purdy dropping back 40, 50 times. So that's something where I think that McCaffrey's a really solid first round pick, and I don't mind going running back in the first round. I'd prefer to get a pass catcher or a QB. And you can see here, it's one pass catcher goes in the first round, and that's me reaching for CeeDee Lamb. And then all quarterbacks go besides McCaffrey. So rooms are going to vary. Rooms are definitely going to vary, especially in the mitten. Less so in the gauntlet. I'm like sweating. I don't think I turned the fan on. That's why. All right. Dalton Schultz kind of sucks, but I guess I got to take him, right? Yeah, I think, Max, that's the logic for a lot of people with McCaffrey. Is that like they feel like you could just have McCaffrey, maybe one more running back, and then just load up on receivers. I still think fundamentally, like, obviously that's going to help your advance rate. It's weird because, like, I'm basically saying the opposite of what I feel like for regular best ball, regular season best ball, is that, like, people want to load up on receivers here, and I don't think you necessarily have to. I think you just want a couple alphas that can make the Super Bowl, and then you hope that carries them. Like, to me, playoff NFL is kind of like playoff NBA, where the starters go like normally, starters in the NBA get 33 minutes or so as like kind of a ceiling, maybe 35 in a game that's really close. Then the playoffs are getting 38, 40. That's sort of what happens for football too, where it's like target concentration for your alpha guys. So I think like, you just want to have the best receivers. So that's where you kind of lose a little bit if you take McCaffrey, but it wouldn't shock me if a McCaffrey team wins. All right, let's take Boyd too. Why not? This is a nice little team. Would have been better with Jamar Chase. I think we can admit that. But honestly, Jamar Chase, like part of my thesis of the year, which didn't end up working out until like the last 3 weeks of the season. So great for me. Was that like T. Higgins was basically going to pull up a little bit more because Jamar Chase A had those long touchdowns last year that were sort of hard to repeat. But B, people were just going to adjust, like teams were going to adjust to Jamar Chase and start to like double him, bracket him, do all the stuff you do for a stud receiver. And then T. Higgins would get open a little bit more. And that didn't happen for like the first 13 weeks of the season. Then T. Higgins started to get there a little bit more. But I think for the playoffs, you can make the case that Higgins is more valuable at his ADP than Jamar Chase is at his. I don't know that's a fair argument to make, but that is one that I would be willing to make. And I get this kind of flies in the face of what I'm talking about with target concentration stuff, but I think the Bengals view Chase and Higgins as really a 1A, 1B. So for them, they're happy to give Higgins like 10 targets if he's going to be more open than Chase is. So that's how I talk myself into T. Higgins being as valuable as Jamar Chase. Oh, thank you, Paul. Paul's declared a winner. Paul and Boats, if he declares a winner, then that means it's over. That means that's the new meta. It's not, we don't have to finish week 17 games. All it takes is Paul and Boats saying this team looks like a winner, and then it wins. Do you value structure in these types of drafts, i.e., robust running backs, zero RB? I don't. I think the main thing for me is just getting enough to fill out a roster for the Super Bowl. Like, that's all I care about. I think people certainly care more about upside than I do, which, look, if it wouldn't shock me if I completely go busto here. But I do think that the way that I'm playing it is like you just got to eke out an easy room, hopefully. And then from there, it's like you let the good teams carry you. So that's what I'm sort of relying on the most. I think Michael Gallup here. So we now have pretty much every core part of Dallas besides Tony Pollard. And I would favor Zeke over Pollard. Pollard, his contract coming up too. Maybe there is some stuff there with him mentally. Wouldn't be a surprise, I guess. So Zeke being the playoff guy, I think it's pretty good. I'll take that, Jeremy. Jeremy likes my team more than his. I accept that. Derek's at the 1-4. Oh, okay, Derek. Oh, Debo. Let's see what Debo's got. Derek's got Brock Purdy, McCaffrey, McKinnon, Kelsey. This team is looking pretty good, Derek. The people of Malden will not be pleased with Derek's team, but he got some of the best parts of Kansas City. The tough part is you didn't necessarily get the best of the Niners receivers, but I guess you got to have a compromise somewhere. So I get it. This is a good team, though. Good job by you, Derek. Oh, and he would still trade teams with me. Oh, this is the love. This is the love you get here on Splash Play. Drafted teams, getting angry at people who aren't in the chat. That's just what we try to do here. All right, we got 2 more picks left. Now I think is a good time to take some. Let's take Hayden Hurst. Let's just get that out of the way. Go full Bengals, and then I'll take one wild card helper in the last round. Is there any chance that Jimmy G returns? I don't know his status. I think so in the beginning, they thought there was going to be a chance. And I think that changed them believing that he probably will not play. He's also going to be a free agent, I believe, this year. So, and his market price is going to be a lot higher than what the Niners wanted to pay him. So I don't think we're going to see him again this year. I think there was a report too, like within the last 2 weeks that Jimmy G was not likely to be back now after some early optimism. And I think that's what made me start to cement Purdy. I don't remember where that report was from, but I do remember seeing that somewhere on social media. Oh, Ross saying, my team sucks, a-hole. I appreciate you being contrarian. At the end of the day, that's all we can do to try to get different from the field. Thoughts on my team in the 106. He thinks that Jacksonville's got a shot. 106. Hold on. So you're raise it. I'll look at it at the end, raise it. Just want to make sure I get my last really good pick in. So who's the best wild card advancer left? Honestly, just based on pure ceiling, it's probably Hawkinson, right? I would think it would be. Yeah, I'll take Hawkinson. All right. So we'll look at Raise It's team. It's going to close out if I look at it now. All right, let's see. Jalen Hurts, Trevor Lawrence, Miles Sanders, Travis Etienne, Diggs, Goddard, Kirk, Knox, Zay Jones, Ingram. So, like, you really need the Jags to get there. And at that point, I don't know what good Diggs really does for you, would be my one critique. And I also, I just don't think the Jags can make it. And this could be one of those, old takes exposed kind of things. Let me look at the team a little more. View full draft. Let's go back to raise it. Because I think his approach here is one that people would certainly like a lot. I guess my thing is that, so you're basically trying to build another AFC team that could advance along with your Eagles, but you don't really have enough Eagles to make it work in the Super Bowl anyway. So, I wouldn't waste the capital on Diggs, because I think you also could have gotten A.J. Brown there, right? I would have taken A.J. Brown for sure if he was there. Yeah, and he was there. Yeah, I think you just got to have the best parts of your team. The team that you want to make the Super Bowl, you should try to have the best parts of, or you should be able to talk yourself into do the mental gymnastics to get like a Jamar Chase, T. Higgins things going. But I would say that's the one thing I would see here. I think what you're doing with the Jags is something that Pete's advocated for, which is just taking a wild card team and hope that they can get there and sort of push their way up. So that's smart. But I think the underside is that you undercut yourself by going with a little bit too much Bill stuff. I would go more NFC stuff then if you're really saying, hey, the Jags are going to make it, or you take enough that you could fill out a full roster and have a little bit of wiggle room if the Jags somehow don't make it. And I think he kind of did the middle, would be my thought for reading this one. No one thought the Bengals would make the Super Bowl this time last year. I think I did. Somebody go watch year-old splash plays and tell me that. But no, I felt like the Bengals had a shot to make it. I think the main adaptation of the modern NFL is any team that's got a gunslinger and guys who are good on offense and a passable enough defense, like you can get this to the Super Bowl. So in that case, the one flaw the Jags have is that defense is dog shit. And that's the part where I would have a hard time taking the Jags, is that their defense is not going to stop the Chiefs. They're not going to stop the Bills. They're not going to stop the Bengals. They might not stop the Ravens. They might not stop the Chargers. Like if you can't stop anybody, like you're not going to go anywhere. And that's where the flaws with the Vikings too. Like I think they have enough offensive firepower to talk yourself into it relative to the values and all that. But I think this to me is going to be a little bit more of a defense minded playoff run where you just have a lot of good defenses up top. Like the Bills D is really good. The Chargers have kind of made strides. The NFC I've talked about enough, but Cowboys, Eagles, Niners, those are all elite defenses that are like really, really good. So any pass thrower who's good can beat those defenses, but you know, it's sort of tough. We got enough people in here that I'll do one more. This will be the last one though, for sure. But I see the numbers starts to go up, and that means new people are coming in. I don't want to let them down. Even though this absolutely kills the rewatchability for streams. That's why Herzig, I think, capped his at 30 flat, so people come in and watch. For me, though, I'm just about that binge mode. Diggs could get there with the Super Bowl. Jalen Sanders, Diggs, Goddard, Knox. I mean, that's enough to fill out a roster, but it's like, is that enough to win it all? I don't think so. I think if the Eagles get to the Super Bowl, I would want to have at least one of Devonta or AJ. We're all on first name basis now. but that's how I feel about it. Again, like there's no wrong approach. That's the main thing. Unless you're just taking like one guy from each team and you're just like not playing a Super Bowl winner, that's the wrong approach. But everything else, I couldn't talk you out of it. Like, I think you got to do what you think is right. It's your money. Like, that's ultimately what I would say for anything fantasy wise. I would just be mindful of some of the other stuff going on there where it's like, all right, you know, if Jalen gets there, I mean, I guess you're saying that Brown and Devonta fail, but are both Brown and Devonta going to fail? Probably not. Thank you, Top Stat. I try. Oh, that means you got into this one. I don't know what your username is. But no, like if I see new people coming in, I just want them to have a good time here. That was fun. All right, what can I do to get weird now? Have I done McCaffrey yet? I might have done that first. We're playing the hits. Christian McCaffrey, number 2. And let's try, you know what? Let's try to build a Niners team, and I won't take another running back. Or if I do take a running back, max 1 running back. Oh, Rob B wants the puppet. Okay. He's back there. And if I had to grab the puppet now, you'd probably like my ass crack would be out. It'd be bad for everybody. Unless that's what you're into. Unless it's going to get some super chats, then in which case I would. Gem City asking, how would you handle a local league with guy having Allen 0.16 down and gets game called? Both people want to be named champ but won't split. They have to split or that guy loses. Like that's it. The game's a no contest. It's over. It doesn't exist anymore. So that's like unfortunate, but that's the rule. So if you're a commissioner of a league, God bless you. I was doing it for a while with my high school league and trying to keep people together. It's too fucking much effort for me. But I would say from my perspective, this is the rules. Like however the NFL made their ruling was how you have to go with. And it sucks. Like, trust me, I wanted a shot to see if Higgins and Singletary and Joe Burrow could get there, especially with that start to that game. Now we're never going to know. And that's just sort of what it is. Sucks, but they should be willing to split it. Like they should not be dickheads about it and they should split it. Oh, Jeremy got the six. Jeremy's got a good hit rate getting in these drafts because it seems like there's a little bit of an overflow here. So shout out to you guys hanging out with me today. I appreciate you all. If you've been watching this entire time, by the way, please hit the like button. That helps us out a bunch, obviously, to get seen by more people. And that's always the goal here. And you're going to see that more in 2023 because, well, you've probably seen it this season where when even without Pete, was doing 5 days a week of shows and videos and all that. More to come. And I think I'm actually I haven't talked it over with Pete yet, but I don't think he cares at this point. I'm probably going to be doing rankings this year. So, and my rankings they're not going to be your father's rankings. I'll tell you, I'll tell you what. Ooh, I'm taking Kelsey here. I like that. I don't think I have a lot of Niners Chiefs stuff, so I'm going to go that way. No money involved, so like, then why be dickheads about it? I don't know. If it's like a league with friends and whatever, like I don't get being a hard ass about a game where a guy had a cardiac arrest on the field. That's me. I don't know. I'm just a guy who's a fan of football. So what do I know? I put the fan in fantasy football. All right. McKinnon is the best Chief. I can get Ayuk later. I do want Kittle, but I'll make that sacrifice. And I think this sort of has some logic in passing up on Debo and also passing up on Kittle. I think they're going to cannibalize each other a little bit when they're both back out there. Like Kittle's hot run being in the time period where Debo wasn't involved. Same thing for Ayuk. I just think there isn't enough to feed 3 Miles and Christian McCaffrey. You think the general strat on drafters changes being its cumulative scoring? I would think so. Yeah, you probably need more of the ceiling wildcard guys. I'm not a drafters player. I know the strategy overall there is different, but they don't give me money, and it doesn't really spike my interest that way. So I don't know enough about it. I would just be talking out my ass. But I think you have to be more mindful of like having a good projection round to round to help yourself out moving forward. Rob puts the Fanta in fantasy, which is, I guess, why I want him so bad in this chat. Is harkening back to decade-old Fanta commercials going to get me the views and likes that I so desire? One can only hope. One can only hope. How did the Mahomes guy pass on Kelsey? That's a good question. Being an idiot would be my guess. Yeah. Mahomes, Diggs, Jefferson. So this is the issue. That's the issue with the mitten is that sometimes people are just drafting bullshit and don't know what they're doing. But yeah, that was an egregious mistake on his end and one that now has gotten him scooped on a couple Chiefs. There we go. Ross puts the balls in fantasy football. I put the tasty in fantasy football. Tell me what you put in the fantasy football in the comments down below. Give me a word amalgam, please. All right. Okay, so now I guess I have to talk myself back into George Kittle. Seems like the way that we're going here. All right, George Kittle. Come on down. Oh, is the Debo guy a threat to me? Who took Debo? Oh, he might take Purdy. He might scoop me on Purdy. No, he didn't. Thank God. All right. Cool. That works. And honestly, I think you could have talked me into / you could make the case for either Kittle or Ayuk in this build. But Purdy, McCaffrey, McKinnon, Kelsey, Kittle. That's pretty solid. It's a pretty solid team already. Release the $3 mutton next week. Is there a $3 mutton going on sale somewhere? Do they have a tournament called the Mutton? Because I would support that, even though it'd be very confusing for Underdog's branding. Ray's is saying, love this KCSF start. You can take Tampa players late to fade Dallas pretty easily after getting Kittle and Ayuk. All right, raise it. Raise it smart. Raise it made a good case for his team last round. So I guess we're a Tom Brady household now after he denied me millions. I'm going to blame Tom Brady and not the great Pat Curran. It was Tom Brady all along. Pull off the mask. It's Tom Brady underneath. You see that, Scoob? Paul and Boat saying looks like it'll lose to my last team. All right, fair enough. Max puts the dick in ridiculous. See, the issue is you need to have the full letters there. Like there would have to be like K ridiculous. Then you could say I put the dick in K ridiculous. What context somebody would use K ridiculous in? I don't know. Oh, sick. So Paul and Boats has now declared me to be first and second place in the Mitten 3. So sucks for you guys. You're drafting for third now. All right, we got Godwin. We got Evans. We have Juju too. I can get greedy and take one more Chief, and I'm going to get greedy and take one more Chief. Drafted too much fucking Brady this summer. Brady was one of my fades. So that's why it's extra tilting to me, was that I was just like, I don't think the Bucks are going to be good this year. And I think I was right. It was just that they were good the 1 week that mattered the most. So that's the tough part. Robbie, yes, I did make the finals, and unfortunately, my team will not realize its full unencumbered glory. I think what they should do is just split all the prizes evenly amongst everybody. But yes, I still have Devin Singletary and T. Higgins and Joe Burrow not going now in week 17. All right. Let's start this stack. I like Evans more than Godwin, but I'll probably get them both. Best ball is a cruel bitch. That is true. And again, this is the 1 year where you just can't complain. So the only safe space to complain is on a stream an hour and 20 minutes in. Then you can complain like a little bit. On the plus side, my DraftKings team, oh boy, that one was as dead as could be. That one had nobody left and had Kirk Cousins at QB, had Elijah Moore. I talked about this on one of the shows already, but clearly some people who don't watch all the stuff, which is completely fine. I get that. But yeah, I had a team with Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, and Justin Jefferson's score was replaced by Elijah Moore. That's how you know. I'll take my $250 on DraftKings and call it a day, given that they comped all my entries to best ball anyway. But it was just nice to get a team to the finals, honestly, with like so many people that I consider sharp not making the finals, like getting one bullet across. And then next year, hopefully I'll get two. And if not, I'll cry. But not on stream. I think I'm a better best ball drafter, like main season best ball. Like I think I'm one of the best ever. I think I'm good at that. I think this is like just such a format that's hard to really feel like to pinpoint that you have a real advantage in. And we're just gonna keep hammering bucks. But yeah, like I think that this format's tough to really feel like you're good. Like, I'm glad Paul and Boats has declared my teams to be winners and all that. But like for regular best ball, like I was really good at taking advantage of ADP windows and like when guys were a little bit too high, when guys were a little bit too low. The one mistake I made, and I think what I'm going to try to do this year is I'm going to limit myself to 16% exposure to everybody. Because like I got killed in the most overall entries by 25% Waller, 25% Pitts, 25%. I guess Algier ended up helping at the end, but didn't help throughout the year. So I'm going to cap myself a little bit lower this year in hopes of like, less it's like cheap guys, I guess. Then I'll be willing to get a little bit more. All right, this team really taking form here. Brock Purdy, Tom Brady, Christian McCaffrey, Jerick McKinnon, Kelsey Kittle, Juju, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. No complaints. No notes. Paul, I agree, but I think there's less of an advantage ADP-wise in these mitten contests, I think, than the gauntlet. Was what I said that a little bit earlier, but I'll say that point again. Like, I think there's a little bit less of an advantage with the mitten just because it's a limited window in time, and like we're going to know relatively the same information in 7 days that we know now. Like, it'll be a little bit more secure. So you'll get more entries coming in and all of that. But I think the early gauntlet teams, like I think some of my early gauntlet teams I feel the best about relative to every other team I've drafted so far. Enjoy your haircut, Top Stat. Appreciate you tuning in. If you guys are leaving, by the way, this will be the last draft, but stay tuned to its conclusion so you can see how it goes. But please hit that like button before you go. And of course, subscribe to Splash Play if you're not. You'll get the videos on your feed anyway. That's kind of how YouTube works. But subscriber numbers help us out, make us look like a bigger deal, make us look like people fucking care when people come to the channel for the first time. So help a brother out. Hit the like button, hit a subscribe. And if you're watching after the fact, leave a comment too. Happy to talk about strategy stuff, all you guys want in the comments after the fact too. And there will be more drafts. I'm sure next week I'll hammer some more best ball drafts too. So the fun never stops here on Splash Play. We just keep this, and then this is a blowtorch, or at least a lighter. Make it rain, burn it immediately. Burn it immediately. Not drafting any playoff best ball teams this year. Before the playoff, the Chargers screwed me last year. See, that's the thing that I think is where you got screwed last year, but this year you would still have an advantage if you were paying attention to all the news and stuff. I would still, get back up to bat and not be afraid of it. But I get it. Like, getting burned by a team is never fun. All right. Guess I'll just take McCole Hardman at this point, just for funsies. So I got enough of the good. Do I want Rachaad White? Yeah, you know what? Let's take Rachaad White too. Maybe this will be one of those plays that matters a lot. Even though it feels like it doesn't matter at all. Final team here. Well, it's gonna end in a moment. Come on, Cowboys. How about them Cowboys taking up the entire clock on the last pick when I just want to read my team aloud without the screen refreshing? I could have done it. All right, final team here. Brock Purdy, Tom Brady, Christian McCaffrey, Jerick McKinnon, Rachaad White, Travis Kelce, George Kittle, Juju Smith-Schuster, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. That is a damn fine team for having to deal with the chaos. And that's also what happens when you reach ahead for ADP a little bit, where you're willing to pass up some guys. I got Kelce as a value. Obviously, that helps out a lot. But took McCaffrey, pass up the QBs. Went a little bit early on some of the receivers. That's sort of how that goes. And I got good values mixed in. So that's the strategy here. I was all part of the learning process. We had to be spiteful. We had to do the weird drafts first. Then we land on one good, sound draft with teams that actually are pretty solid and can make the Super Bowl. That's how it goes here. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Of course. Oh, fuck. I did the wrong one. Hold on. There we go. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Follow me at Chris Spags. Follow the show at Splash Play Pod. Subscribe before you go. Hit the like button. Leave a comment. All that stuff. Neon flashing GIF on the screen right now telling you to do it. So how could you avoid a neon flashing GIF? But I'll be back tomorrow with Pete on this channel at around 10 a.m., I believe. So please come back then. And otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Hope you guys picked up something. I will see you guys again soon. So good luck in playoff basketball drafts, and I'll see you soon. Bye.